today's stream is going to be a little different. I am just going to go over my loadouts. Um, so I'll try and show what it looks like too. First, I have my solar subclass. So the weapons I'm using are the Monte Carlo because it can reduce melee cooldown. I'm using the Ignis Hammer and the Unwavering Duty. This build I'm using, it's probably not the most famous, or some people would say it's not really the most effective, but it works for me. And it's revolving around the Pyro Gales. So, first things first, I have Sunbreaker with Burning Maul. You can use either Rally Barricade or or Towering. I use Rally, that way I can shoot and stay in cover afterwards. Catapult Lift, just because it's in my opinion, one of the best jumps. You're going to want your throwing hammer and healing grenades, just to help you get restoration and when you're desperately in need of healing. Roaring Flames, final blows with solar abilities or ignitions, increase damage of your solar abilities and stacks 3 times. Along with Soul Invictus, which solar ability final blows, hammer of soul impacts, and defeating scorched targets create sunspots, and your abilities regenerate faster, and your super drains more slowly while standing in the sunspot. Sunspots apply scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering sunspot applies restoration. So those are the aspects I use. There's a lot more I probably could use. That's the one I'm focused on now. I'm using Ember of Torches, which when you use your powered melee attacks, it makes you and your allies radiant. Ember of Solace, Radiant, and Restoration effects applied have increased duration. Ember of Ashes, which you can apply more scorched stacks to targets. And Ember of Searing, defeating scorched targets grants fire or grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite, which comes in handy. So yes, it has plus 10 recovery, but that also has a minus 10 on discipline. But with all of this paired together with other abilities and mods, it loads pretty quick, especially when you have the throwing hammer. I mean, when you pick it up, it takes a while to load, like a little bit to load back up like it used to be, but it still works great. For mods, so the helmet mod, I'm using Resilience because this is my Resilient Titan essentially. I'm using Hands On, which you gain bonus super energy on melee kills. Harmonic Siphon, rapid solar final blows, create an orb of power. And Radiant Light, casting your super causes nearby allies to also increase their current armor charge by 1. Allies that have different subclass element from your increased armor charge by 2. So then on the Pyro Gale gauntlets themselves, the mods are mobility mod, that way you can have you can move somewhat fast. Momentum transfer, causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. Focusing strike grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a powered melee attack. And bolstering detonation, which grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. On your chest, I have resilience mod, energy reinforcement, which you gain temporary damage reduction when your shield's broke. Great, it comes in handy. Does consume 3 stacks. And concussive dampener, which reduces incoming area effect damage. So like the bombs that the enemies throw and stuff like that. On the legs, I have resilience recuperation, which replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power. Innervation reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And then Element Charge. This is a very important one because collecting a Fire Sprite, Ionic Trace, Stasis Shard, or Void Breach, or destroying a Strain Tangle has escalating chance to give you an armor charge. That means if you are desperate of an armor charge, or you just really need to get your armor charges back up, it comes in handy when you are able to pick up a Fire Sprite. If you're using Solar, um, if you're using Arc, Ionic Trace, Stasis, stuff like that. And then on my mark, I have a Strength mod. Outreach reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability. And I have Distribution, reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability in your targets. And Powerful Attraction, which automatically collects those orbs when you activate your class ability. That way, if you're nearby one but you can't get to one, it will automatically just kind of come to you. Distribution and Outreach are very important because it just helps your melee cooldown go faster. Just because, yes, you have the throwing hammer, which takes, when you pick it back up, it used to be instant get back, but we don't have the instant get back anymore, and so you have to come up with ways that makes it recharge even faster. As for artifact mods, don't really need to go into that, but I'll show you what I'm using. I have Flame, Fiber, and Freeze, which combines the Solar Strand, Solar Stasis Siphon mods. Kindling Trigger, which Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. So, like, I can, if I'm Radiant, stuff like that, I use my Ignis Hammer, one shot usually, and whenever Kindling Trigger is activated in your Radiant, it will scorch your opponents, which will uh, do damage over time, which really helps, especially in creating the fire sprites. Um, Flint Strike, From Whence You Came is just an additional one that helps you with taking and scoring. Flint Striker, Rapid Solar Weapon Precision Hits, and Rapid Solar Weapon Final Blows grant Radiance. So, if you're good with a Solar Hand Cannon, great. That's also why I used my Unwavering Duty. I can get pretty accurate kills with it. Um, and on the hand cannon, I can get a lot of precision final blows. That works with any kind of solar weapon that you're good at getting the shots off. Heart of Flame, which is important. Casting your solar super grants nearby allies radiant and increases the damage of your super for each nearby ally. So if you have, uh, say you're in a team of or you and two other people, your Burning Maul is going to do a lot more damage with the Pyrogales because Pyrogales modifies the Burning Maul into a single high damaging slam. Your hammer creates several cyclones of flame consecration. Second slam creates a cyclone of flame. So it makes it even more stronger and deals more damage to your enemies. The next important one, I think important, would be the Revitalizing Blast. So causing damage with a solar ability weakens champions and bosses for short durations. That means, with your anti-barrier, it means with your unstoppable, all your champions that you're dealing with helps weaken them. So you can do more damage and stun them, which comes in handy. As you can see, I don't have an anti-champion capable, so I really rely on my solar ability and stuff like that. I will load in somewhere and kind of give you guys a look at how I use my abilities. Go to the Cosmodrome and go to. So I'm going to go to the Forgotten Shores, Veils of the Labyrinth, just because there's a pretty steady stream of enemies there. Actually, no, better yet. Dreaming City, Reservoir. No, sorry. The Strand, Ophelia's Rest. That's what I want. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to take us there. But as you can see, like weapon-wise, as long as you have 1 or 2 good solar weapons, you're fine. I use Monte Carlo just because the damage reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. And when you have all of those other abilities or mods and stuff going, your super actually does charge a little bit faster as well. So I will take us to the Strand. Fillion's Rest is one of my favorite lost sectors, just because it's not a long lock sector, but there's quite a bit of enemies since it's taken, and they spawn quick and all that. We'll get past this public event. I know this is probably not the way most people go to get to it, but it's interesting. Different way than most. Alright. Get into a lost sector. Gotta remember we're gonna save our healing grenades. So I'm gonna run up, I'm gonna try and get a hit off. Yep. So you can see I'm radiant, right? And then not only do they get damaged, but when you punch them, it also causes them to get scorched. And then, like I said, those just stay there, and, you know, more kills, great. So then you can take this, I'm ready, you know, and then you can just keep it going. Oh, like that. Ah. And then I'm radiant, so then I can shoot them, and it can scorch them, which helps you create those fire sprites like right there. So then you can keep it collecting it and keep your radiant going, keep your roaring flames going, and all of that fun stuff. And you can still do quite a bit of damage. And as you can see, my super's already pretty high. So then, you know, you do the same thing, which is really fun to do, in all honesty. So then, I'm gonna try and do some ag clearing to help get my super up. But just by doing those steps, my super's already, I mean, yeah, it was raising as I was heading over here, but it also helped by doing all that. Then, let that happen. And I normally would just kind of go through this boss with what I got, but I want to show you guys what happens when you use your super. For those of you who don't have the Pyro Gales and is thinking about getting them. I'm going to use it all on this boss. So, when you pop it, this is what it's going to look like essentially. Which you can one hit, and you get Restoration and Radiant. So then you just go do the same thing over and over again. But you're also become pretty much the ultimate melee. And that's what I use on my solar, it comes in handy on strikes. It comes in it's handy on uh, not so much in Crucible unless you can do it just right. I'm still trying to think of a Crucible build better for my solar. Um, and then you it just does a great job. Raids, dungeons, you name it. And that's where I'm going to end this video, guys. Trying not to keep them extremely long. I did my solar deny. I'm going to show you guys my arc, strand, and void loadouts, and how they work for me. Obviously, I don't have a stasis one yet. These two spots are Iron Banner and Trials. I'm recently got the Horror Frost and Z, which I'm going to try and work a stasis build around. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Find it useful if you're wanting to use a solar loadout that doesn't require Synthoceps or Lorelei Splendor Helm, Heart of Flame, stuff like that. And these gauntlets, it's hard to if you're trying to be a good looking Titan, it's hard to make a good fit for it. But they're honestly worth it, guys. I would give these gauntlets, honestly, a 10 out of 10 when it comes to damaging. So you guys have a great night. Stay tuned for my other videos, and if you guys have suggestions, let me know. I will gladly try anything out. So you guys have a great night, and I'll see you out there.